This is Grizzly Country Outdoors.
This is a moose rat pit. Look at, you can see his footprints here. But a moose has pawed this and urinated here. Oh, this is exactly what I want. So when you're moose hunting, this is absolutely what you want to find. That's a stink pot. It's the second one I've found on this trail. The other one is just in front of that stump. There's where I'm sitting. There's my gear. I've been sitting here this morning just in that spot, and I decided to get up and go for a little walk. Found this stink pot, and then over here I'll show you. There's a big rub. Beautiful rub. Ah, perfect. Besides that stink pot, like, this is the best bull moose sign you'll find right here. So I'll show you. Get down here. This is more excellent sign. This is what we're looking for here. The bull has trashed this little birch tree. And look at this. There's a bull moose rub right there. Oh, here's another one. There's another fresh rub. Little birch tree he destroyed. Very cool. Anyway, so when you're hunting bull moose and you want to know where to call, this is where to call. That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, when you're going to call bull moose, that's what you want to find. Fresh rubs, stink pots. You know you're in the home of a bull. Well, it's September 18, and it's about 10 o'clock. Looks like kind of a bust for this year, but it is what it is. Circumstances beyond my control. I got a couple of moose hunting stories, moose calling stories that I thought I'd share. The first one, the very first time I ever called a bull. It was September 7th. I was bow hunting, and I come down this trail, and all of a sudden here was a cow moose, and she was being followed by two bulls. Now, being September 7th, one of these bulls is still completely in velvet. The other, no velvet. And they're both like 35, 38-inch bulls kind of thing. Not big, but they're following this cow. So I see where they go into the bush. They turn in by this little kind of creek. So I cross the creek, start down the trail, and the very first thing I see is a fresh grizzly track. And I'm bow hunting. I don't have a gun. All I got is a bow on me. So it caused me a little pause there while I thought, well, what do I do here? And I just thought, well, I saw where these moose went, what the heck, I go down it. And get to this really overgrown cut line. And I stopped there and paused. And to be quite honest, I was simply thinking, what should I do here? And all of a sudden, here come these two moose, the two bulls, I should say. So the bull that had stripped the velvet from his antlers, he was aggressively challenging the other bull, grunting at him. And basically the first time I'd ever really heard a moose call, and I just imitated the grunt. And the second I did, these bulls, they both just look right at me, and they turn and they come. But the stupid moose, what they did, and stupid me too, they turn and they come into that overgrown cut line. There's really, really thick brush in it. And me, not realizing, I got down in behind a little pine tree. And out these two bulls come up. And they were 5 yards from me. They were so close. And they were both facing straight at me. And I'm behind this little pine tree. I can't do anything. Okay, I can't move my bow. So I stood up. And as soon as I stood up, those two moose spun around and they ran. And my heart was going like this. So I had to wait. I had to wait to calm down. 5 minutes or something like that. And when I calmed down again, I gave another bull grunt. Well, as soon as I give that bull grunt, here they came again. But this time, they were going across in front of me. 15 yards. And I was so excited. Like, as these bulls came by, I picked the one bull, and I didn't aim at him, if you know what I mean. I was just pointing the bow. Such a close range shot, and I completely missed it. Arrow went right over his back. Thank goodness, complete miss. Dead into the center of a spruce tree, and that was it. Those two bulls gone, and then that was it. They weren't interested in coming again. The next story is about sound. It's okay to make sound where you are. Like if you grab the branch of a small willow, a poplar, and just pull it like you're stripping the leaves off. Snapping twigs. Those are natural sounds that a moose is not going to be alerted. You'll alert to them. You're not going to scare them. In fact, they may call him in. So, one time I was calling, and where I was, there was this dead spruce laying on the ground, but yay big around, I suppose, and it was right between two poplar trees. So I had been calling without getting any answer, and then I grabbed that. And I had to pull like the son of a gun to break it. Well, when it broke, it sounded like a rifle shot. It was so loud. And as soon as that broke, a cow that had been coming to me, I hadn't heard. As soon as that branch broke, she called and came in. So see, that cow thought I was a bull, and she was coming to me because she said, okay, here's a bull. So that was the second story. Third one now, again, this is with sound. We were setting up camp, and one fella had brought a chainsaw. Couldn't get his chainsaw to run. So we wanted some poles to put up some tarps. So a couple of us just went into where there was these small poplars, yay big around. We were going to chop them down, bring them out, and make poles for tarps. So the thumping sound of chopping these poplars, but especially the sound after we'd cut them down, we brought them out onto the open ground to cut them to length. And chopping them on the ground was making this real thump, 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 thumping sound. And that called it a bull moose. He came right in, came out of the bush 50 yards from the tents. One of the guys, there's a bull, grabbed his gun, boom. So a simple thing like that, called it a moose, that thumping sound. The next story I have is on cows. And when a cow is calling, the basic cow call is a locating call. Now, I'm not talking like when a cow gets in a herd, or when a cow gets with a bull, or maybe several cows are with a bull. The sounds they can make is crazy. There's so many sounds. But the basic call, where a cow is by herself, and she is trying to locate the bull, that's that basic call. It's a short call, It's a very simple call. There's not much to it. Just kind of goes up and clips off. I was going through the bush, and all of a sudden I come up to this little cove spruce, and there was a cow in there calling. So I set up. I was very close to her. She was, and she starts calling, and that cow called every 5 minutes for 2 hours. Excuse me. She called every 5 minutes for 2 hours, and I just sat and listened to her, and she gave that same call every 5 minutes. Oh. And then just quit. So what I believe happened was a bull finally answered her, and she went off to go find that bull. And then the next story I have is the same thing, sort of. I was calling, cow calling, and I called in a cow. Well, she came in, and the funny thing was that she didn't come right out to me. She came in and just stopped and set up in the bush, like 50 or 100 yards from me, very close. And she started calling too. And it's like, I know she can call better than me, so I quit calling. Just sat there and listened to her. And she called the very same as this other cow I'm talking about. Steady. Every 5 minutes, that same basic call. For 45 minutes to an hour, she went. And then, over here, the bull called. As soon as that bull called, she answered him. And away she went cross country to the bull. And I had to really go to keep up to her, but I followed her cross country, and she kept it, calling the bull, and he'd answer back. And I followed them. Geez, I think I followed them probably for half a kilometer. It led me way down into the bush and into a spot where, like, I actually did see the cow and bull together. But I just went, nope, I'm not shooting the bull down in here, because they just took me so far down into the timber, like it was helicopter country, you know. Either you'd need a whole bunch of really strong, young, stupid guys. So I didn't shoot him. But in both those situations, the cow, she has a very basic call when she's looking for a bull, and she's trying to locate a bull. And as soon as she hears one answer, away she goes. And this idea that a cow stands in one place. Now, when you're calling moose, you want to get set up in the ideal spot strategically, like where you have maybe some elevation so your call can carry. You want some opening, especially downwind, because the moose will pretty much always try to get downwind of you. Not 100%, but really close. They pretty much always try to get downwind of you when they come in. So you want an advantage of the shooting position from where you are. You want some visibility, some elevation, etc., right? And when a bull does answer, you have to be able to understand what his call is. Some bulls, as soon as they call, there's a tone in there that yeah, he's coming no matter what. And you don't have to move. He's just going to come right friggin' to you. Other times, he may start out that way. The bull may call that way initially, and then as he gets in closer to you, he starts to hesitate a bit. That's when it gets a little tricky, because when a bull hangs up, there's things you have to be able to do to get him. Number one, he's probably, any bull that hangs up, guaranteed, he's going to try to get downwind. This is when you also, as he's coming, your call needs to get softer, right? Not as loud. and you may have to move to him. But because he's trying to get downwind of you, you have to move in such a way that you're trying to get him to come by going closer to him. You could get him to come out. But even so, he still is probably going to be trying to get downwind of you. So you gotta have to work a bit into a position where, yeah, you entice him by going closer, but you also try to keep that wind in your favor so he's not getting downwind of you. That's what you gotta do. So again, if you got a helicopter service at your fingertips, or you got some really strong young guys who like to pack moose quarters, by all means, if a bull calls, just go to him. That will get him every time, because, okay, he hears, cow called, the cow's coming to me, you're going to get him, but you might be shooting him down in the middle of a hellhole. As long as you don't mind doing that, fill your boots. For me, I would much prefer to pull them up, like into the spot where I'm sitting here, where I could get at this now with my ATV, right? Time is 20 after 10. After 10, September 18. I think we're done. Sun's starting to try to burn through these clouds. This is the last day I can hunt anyways, just because of circumstances. Got to fly down to Ontario on the 21st within just a couple days, and so I don't have any business shooting a moose with like only a couple days left, because the logistics of handling the meat and just not there. So, yeah. So I guess, one of these days I'm going to put together a more comprehensive video on how to call moose. And actually, so I said we're going to Ontario on the 21st of September. We're coming back something like October 12th, I believe. Now, that's the tail end of the moose rut. But I think I'm going to get out here in the bush. I won't have a hunting license. I won't actually be able to shoot a moose, but I'll be able to come out and at least try to call one in. So we'll be doing that. Alright. Over and out. Play these calls where you hunt the moose. Space the call every 5 minutes, maybe in the peak of the rut. Space it out to an hour, even a couple of hours in the early season and stuff. These calls will call in a moose for you. The call is produced from your diaphragm. When you call, you push as hard as you can, shaping the call in your throat. And then, so pitch the nostrils. It'll give your call a little higher, little kind of a nasal tone. And you push as hard as you can with your diaphragm. The sound is produced in your throat and then just shaped at the end with your mouth. But you don't call just with your voice. You don't call just with your voice. It's from your diaphragm. Yeah, listen to these calls. See if you can practice them and imitate that type of call. I have a deep voice. I would actually like if I could make a little bit higher tenor, a little bit higher tone in my call, but unfortunately, that's my natural call. So, but have a listen. See if it helps you. Like that. video you're about to watch is going to be 2 minutes of me calling cow moose. Pay attention to the way I make the call. You'll always find, whether it's a cow or a bull, the call kind of ends with like a oh, oh, to a bull, oh. Cows, oh, at the end.